What is going on, brothers and sisters? Eric Rosen from Viking Rising Astrology. This is your daily horoscope here to help free you from emotional jail to pursue true desire. Although that's a little bit deeper work than I can probably do for you in just a single bite-sized horoscope, but we'll chip away at the ice block, shall we? So before we get into that, though, I do want to say that we are heading into that draconic moment in astrology for the collective where that North Node is at 0 degrees of Aries. If you're not familiar, draconic astrology is like the original soul blueprint of who you are, who you were before that earth incarnation that you came here to embody the lessons and reflections of how this reality shapes you on earth through your natal chart. And so comparing those two charts, understanding the draconic chart can really help to a level of personal self-mastery to really take your soul and really fully embody it. And I'm really seeing this as a quantum portal for people to, like, regardless of what decisions that you've made in life, that it's kind of hitting the reset button and you can really step up and lead your life forward for these final moments of that North Node in Aries. It is shifting on Saturday. But we're still in that North Node in Aries. We're in that South Node in Libra. So, this is a good moment to reflect on the lessons. Take a moment, take a pause during this Capricorn season, the winter months, and go, what did we learn from this last 18 months? I know for me, and I think I probably can speak for a lot of people, it's like maybe some of the over analyzing, weighing things out too much wasn't really the way to go with that South Node in Libra, or, for anyone that was like trying to seek out a relationship that, maybe wasn't actually given the peace and harmony, that the whole time it really was more about that North Node in Aries, about, it's simple, you just pick a direction, you act, you bet on yourself, essentially, you put yourself first, and, not so much the relationship. But, we'll be talking about different lessons as we go forward for the next 18 months when the nodes shift into Pisces and Virgo. And so I'll probably do a special on that. I haven't decided yet. But we are in this Capricorn season. Capricorn is entering those last 10 degrees of the zodiac sign. It's Capricorn with the sun there. So what does that mean? It's like, well, it can feel like in traditional astrology, like these do or die moments of like, hey, are you going to get there? Are you going to hit the goal? Are you going to make it happen? And so we do need to start like paying attention to that for these last 10 days of this season, because the sun doesn't really like to be in Aquarius. It's not its favorite position. It wants to connect and be vibrant and joyful. And when it's in Aquarius, it can feel kind of like cold, icy out there, aloof. It's the opposite of where it likes to be in Leo season. And so I think there's an opportunity here for us to, take care of the basics, make sure our foundation is there. With this Mars retrograde in Cancer, we definitely got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, that we've got the floor figured out, that like we're not trying to like skip steps and try to build a skyscraper, on stilts or something like that. And then, be in the flow with all this beautiful Pisces energy, with Neptune, with Saturn, with Venus. That Mars retrograde in Cancer are going to start making aspects over to that Neptune and Pisces, and kind of this beautiful dream-like state, but it can also get a little like lazy too. So I think we got to just be mindful about subconsciously the information that we're taking in. Just like this could bring up definitely, value systems that we just need to like make sure we're paying attention to, that feel spiritual in nature. That's a nice thing about Venus likes to be in Pisces, that is going to get squared by that sun that is in Gemini today. So it is about staying busy. It is about, not getting frantic, but getting focused, getting things done, making it happen, have the plan, have the schedule, and in the moments in between, find that beautiful spiritual connection and that flow, and do the daydreaming, and like let the dreams naturally come in, and not feel like you gotta catch up on like the dreamscape over the weekend or something, even though we can do that and set aside pockets of time to do that. I think it's a really great thing to do, to see, where the reality can go forward and do those manifestation principles, if you will. And I use the word principles because we do want it to be spiritually principled, not just something that gives like glitz and glamour energy. That stuff's like so faded. This is way more about, you know, I mean, everyone's value system is different, but you know, the highest octave of Pisces is this beautiful spiritual service. With that moon in Gemini, I think it's kind of like looking at just like what's the just factual ways that we can make sure that we're doing that. And it doesn't matter if you're the Capricorn CEO that feels like she's running everything, or you're just the person that, you know, is helping someone fill their order at a restaurant or something, or, you know, holding the door open for someone. Like either way, like there's beautiful, just normal ways that we can normalize peace and just being a solid person, you know, and definitely not to fall into this like what can feel like slimy Mars retrograde and Cancer energy. I hate to even talk about it because like some people like go there where, you know, they're not identifying their feelings and their emotions fully, and then they're like, you know, spraying them like out, you know, onto others. And it's almost like we got to protect their energy too, and just like make sure that we're not taking on other people's stuff, that we're not putting stuff on other people. But also I would say too that the Mars retrograde is also teaching, when you know who you are, it's like, you know, you don't have to protect yourself as much or be on the defensive, you know, that there can be a beautiful spiritual Cancer Pisces process to just like live and let live with things, and just stay focused on the work that you're doing and, you know, the part of the world that you're here to represent. And it's not about trying to conquer the world. It's just trying to keep it simple with that North Node in Aries. See, did I miss anything? I don't know. I mean, you know, it's fundamental astrology. I mean, I think the best thing is really just using that North Node in Aries for the reset point. It's nice to have Capricorn season to back it up to where we can just make that decision. So if you want to find out how that hits you personally, click on that link down below to book an astrology reading, and we'll look at your draconic chart during the reading. And also your 2025 plans, because, you know, this is a year of segments of the year's not going to be consistent. My guys gave me this joke the other day where it's like, they're like, yeah, you know, it's like turds. It's like sometimes they're different consistency. So it's like some of the collective, you know, is going to be releasing a lot, is what the metaphor is suggesting there with the stool analogies. But for those of us that have been practicing the art of not so much as paying attention to spiritual guidance or reading the books, but more so to our inner ear, like listening to ourselves, you know, because that's the other thing South Node and Libra brings up too. It's like with that nodal axis, North Node and Aries, it's not so much about listening to others. It's more so about like listening to ourselves, like really listening to this like spiritual cellular level embodiment piece that, you know, there's just no one that can make it happen for us and create the beautiful, you know, perfect life. And why give our strength and power away to those, you know, people in the first place? You know, that would point to a Chiron in Aries issue of like feeling like weak and depleted. And you know, the sun just did come off a square to that. So for everyone kind of like have that lesson, that breakthrough that we've been getting once a year since 2019. This, you know, this time it's without Pluto and Capricorn though. So it can feel a little bit more fresh in terms of the approach of how we take things. Let's see what we got card-wise today. Well, that flew out. Was that the Capricorn card I glanced at? Nope, Uranus. So I don't know which way this fell, but Uranus, change. I mean, it is time for change. It's kind of like the Bob Dylan song, the times they are changing. It is Pluto and Aquarius. And so there is a shift happening, whether you want to look at it as the shifting of a full-blown Capricorn season without Pluto, the shift of the nodes, that North Node at that draconic point of Aries. You know, we're going to have Neptune and the North Node like coming together. I mean, this is all preparation for a change of ages, absolutely closing down all chapters. And so, you know, this is really for those that are paying attention. As long as you're paying attention and you you have an idea of where you're going with that North Node in Aries, and you're not coming from a place of ego, wounded ego, and you're being more of the healer, that change you want to see in the world, finding a way to be of service, of positivity, of love, of compassion and empathy to others. How can you go wrong? Like the escalator's open, right? That walking, that run, what's that thing in the airport where it's like you walk on it and it like gets you there faster? It looks like an escalator, but it's like horizontal. It's kind of like, you know, it's a smooth sailing when you're aware. For those that aren't though, you know, they're getting triggered, getting sucked into some old programs and things like that. And then Mars retrograde in Cancer, and just like, I don't know, it reminds me of like the thing that blows the ink everywhere if people try to steal like clothes, like the little alarm thing, and it like ruins the clothes. And it's like people trying to like put on masks and outfits and like do the glitz and glam piece in this astrology. It's not going to work. It's really just not. It's authenticity all the way. You have to know who you are. And so it's not for people to hide wounds that some of them are programmed, some of them in this astrology could even be ancestral too. And that's a hard one because, you know, the Mars retrograde in Cancer is kind of like that knife that's got to cut those roots off, of making sure you know what's yours to take on too in your family, and what's not, what's meant to be released, like what to really identify with is a really big lesson. So, all right, appreciate you all, and I'll see you on the next horoscope.